What's up, my people? This right here, I'm fixing to give. This is just for information purposes only, just to give information for those who may not know. This is not a jab on nobody. This is not to tell nobody they're wrong or right. This is just information that need to be passed on for those who's trying to grow and learn and understand the things of this world. And the thing we're talking about right now is Easter. I'm letting you know where Easter come from. Easter come from the name Ishtar, which is the name of the goddess, a sex goddess of love, fertility, and war. And it's a sex goddess that come from the pre-flood, before the deluge. Okay, and that's where the word Easter come from, is Ishtar. Later, she became the name Semiramis, which was Nimrod's wife. That's who she became later on, as honored as that after the flood. Okay, and to tell you more about her, the same thing is she was referenced as that same goddess. And to prove her deity, there was a myth that they said that happened, that she came down in an egg and crashed in the Euphrates River. When she crashed in the Euphrates River to prove her deity to the people, she turned an egg-laying bird into an egg-laying rabbit. That's where the Easter bunny come from. Ceramis is turning an egg-laying bird to an egg-laying rabbit. Okay, and in honor of her, what they did later on was they would go to the altar and they would have rituals where they would deal with each other. And those that conceived children during that time period, later on, they would take the children to the altar, and they would put a bowl or something to catch the children, catch what happens when they sacrifice the children. So they sacrifice babies during that time period. And they would take an egg or the eggs and they would dump the eggs into the blood of them children. That's where the coloring of the eggs come from. So yes, when they're coloring of the eggs and different things like that, it actually comes from child sacrifice. And the Easter bunny actually comes from a sex goddess that they changed the egg-laying bird into an egg-laying rabbit. Okay, so that has nothing to do with the Most High. That don't have nothing to do with Christ. And somebody may say, well, hey, I'm doing it for Christ. Well, you think Christ will honor something like that? You can't change something that was already made into something that was pagan or really a satanic worship into something that's righteous. You can't do that. Y'all know that. People know that. But I'm just trying to get you to see this. And what happened then was people made that a holiday and they kept it going on. And the first thing you do, how to keep it going on, is you give it to children, because there's no way you can go to adults and bring a rabbit and eggs into something that adults are celebrating, because they were rejected. But if you say, hey, I'm doing it for the children, now it's fun, now you continue to pass it on from generation to generation. Okay, so somebody may say, well, Easter's in the Bible. It is in there one time. It's in Acts chapter 12, verse 4, but that's a mistranslation. And if you go into the Strong's Concordance is the translation from the Hebrew and the Greek to the English. So it gives you the proper translation. And the proper translation of that word Passover is, if you look up the number G3957, is Pascha, which means Passover. So that's a misinterpretation of the word Passover. It's Passover. It's not Easter in there. So that kills that, conversation about the word Easter being into the Bible. But what does that have to do with Christ's resurrection? Nothing. Christ don't honor that. The Most High don't honor that. So Christ's resurrection, Christ actually was crucified on the Passover. Everything had to happen just like it happened during the Passover when they was coming out of Egypt. Christ became the Passover instead of the lamb. He became the lamb. He was crucified on Passover. They hung him up and he died, and they was going to break his legs. Couldn't break his legs because he was already dead. Well, they didn't have to break his legs because he was already dead. And also the Feast of Unleavened Bread was coming in. But Christ was crucified on Passover, which was the Sabbath, or what they call Saturday. And he resurrected in 3 days, which happened in between two Sabbaths. Okay, first of all, if today was Friday, if I say 2 days. What's 2 days if you on Friday right now? It'll be Sunday. So you know he didn't resurrect on Easter Sunday. So that'll kill that. But anyway, he died on Passover. He resurrected 3 days later. Then he appeared to his disciples for 40 days. And on that 40th day, he ascended up into heaven. Okay. 7 days later was Pentecost, which means 50. 7 days later. So you got from the time of Passover, you got 7 weeks, which is called the Feast of Weeks, into the 50th day, which is called Pentecost, and also it's called First Fruits or the Feast of Weeks. This is your Pentecost, and remember the reason why they was speaking in different languages during that time period, because there's 3 times a year that the Israelites go into the land of Israel or Jerusalem during that time period to come together for a great feast. And those 3 times were Tabernacle, the Feast of Tabernacle, Passover, and Pentecost. When they was there in Pentecost, they came from all over, and during the times when they came from all over, they learned different languages. When they learn different languages, of course, by default, you go in another land, you start living in them lands, you're going to learn other languages. So when they came amongst each other during that time of Pentecost under one accord, because they kept the customs of their people, we kept the customs of our people. That's what happened when they started speaking the languages of their nations. They started speaking to the nations that was around them of the same people. And because they were speaking that, though they understood, wow, this is going on, because this is amazing that I'm talking to someone, what we call today, okay, I'm speaking in Spanish to this person right here, because this person right here speaks Spanish. I speak English, but when I'm speaking to him about Christ, he understanding it in Spanish. This was the miracle during that time period. So this Easter thing, we need to know this right here. This is not being taught in the churches nowhere. And I'm talking about the black churches mainly, but everywhere. But I'm just saying, my people, you know what I'm saying? We need to know this right here. We need to do, if we're going to do something, we need to follow it as it is written. And nobody's following these holy days. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you about these holy days. We need to bring this to light, because all these other things has pagan origin, and it's very wicked to the core. And remember, even though we look at stuff like it was a long time ago, remember Christ and the Most High is outside of time. And that's why, of course, in the Bible it says a day in heaven is like 1,000 years on earth. So something that was done 99 or 900 years ago on earth wasn't even a day yet in heaven. I'm just giving you that thought right there. But anyway, there's something simple I just want to get, just tell you, if I got something wrong, it's all good. For those who celebrate the holy days, if you celebrate it on another day, it don't matter. As long as you celebrate the holy days, I'm just giving out the information for those who just want to know, where did this thing come from, Easter? Where did this come from? All right, I'm out of here.